Hello everyone, welcome back. I hope you're well. Here we are at Monza, this time in the IMSA Fix series, and we're taking out the Cadillac as I want to have a look at what I've been missing out on battling these cars the entire week. I've actually had quite a few races with quite a few successes as well, but they've all been quite boring and not really worth the show, so I decided to have a go in the Cadillac to see what I've been missing out on, and we're definitely going to see how that works out for me, as I'm finding this car is a lot easier to drive compared to the BMW and the Ferrari. So we're going to be starting in P7 here. We are in the mid-pack, a high strength of field, so the rules are the same as always. Let's just survive lap 1 and hopefully make it to the end of the race. I'm watching the green car weaving wildly in front of us. I'm a bit too close to the red car, so I miss them starting off. And I get a bad shift as well just to compound the error, but that does give us a bit of a space as we're racing down towards turn 1 here. So I'm just going to try and find a clean line, hopefully ready to react if something happens. But so far everyone is going quite well considering how bunched up we're getting here in the chicane. And straight away we can see the power of the Ferrari launching out of the corner using that all-wheel drive system. They are ferocious on those cold tyres. But he's not got past that second Cadillac just yet. He's going to now defend to the inside. Ferrari is going to come out to the outside, but that's going to cost him a position. And with us looking down the inside now, we might get the position as well, going round his outside. He's still there for us, so I've got to give him the space now into the first Lesmo, which is very difficult on these cold tyres. You can see I'm understeering. I get a bit of on-power twitchiness there. That's going to cost us 2 positions, but certainly could have been worse if we hit him properly. It's just unfortunate, but that is what it is. Now I am confident though on these cold tyres even after that, so I'm going to try and have a fake out on Bjorn here, see if he'll break deep into Ascari. And he does go a bit deep, but not enough there to really compromise him, so I'm just going to focus on the exit and try and get him on the run down to the Parabolica. And you can see the difference between us here. I'm going to close up on him. He has a bit of a wiggle here, but I'm still going to get to the inside, and now I'm just going to pick my braking as normal a little bit earlier on the cold tyres. Make sure I leave him the space on the outside by not driving deep, and that's at least got 1 position back. And we're straight into lap 2 following Alexander in the Ferrari, who seems to be struggling here on those cold tyres, coming deep into the first chicane here. But the Ferrari's all-wheel drive system is simply amazing. That thing has so much traction even on the cold tyres. I'm certainly getting better now myself. The Cadillac does struggle on the opening laps, but you soon feel the benefits of the tyres getting up to temperature here. I'm going to be able to start using that because the Ferrari is still going to be understeering quite heavily. You can see Alexander is fighting, really having to throw the Ferrari into those corners in order to try and get to the apex. And even on the power, as you're going to see here, coming out the first Lesmo, he goes very wide, almost going onto the sand. And again through the second, he's wide of the apex, which costs him time and lets me come right up behind him here. I'm hoping the pressure I'm putting on him will be enough, because I'm not close enough into Ascari. I'd have to be alongside of him to make a move, so I'm just going to show my nose once more. Hopefully he's trying to make him outbrake himself and go across the sand, but he's just about kept it on the road. I was going to get a good exit myself, but I had to really lift off there. The Cadillac can take those sausage curves, but on the cold tyres you have to really be careful. And with the race still being so young, I do not want to give it away at this stage here, because I know I can still be very close to the back of Alex. But I do underestimate my cold tyres here. I get on the power a little bit too soon, and that sends us wide over the green rumble strip. That's our second off track already here. We are now right behind Alex, so I'm going to pull out of the slipstream, taking the inside line into the first chicane. I'm confident under the brakes here, and we're able to beat him onto the first part of the corner, and that gives us the new position. And the cars are not too far ahead of us too, so there's a good opportunity. But I do have to be mindful that Alex is still right behind us now, and his tyres are getting better, so he would have the opportunity here. So I do have to defend into the second chicane, but again, I'm more confident under the braking, and as long as I can get that first apex right, going over the curb quite abundantly, I can give me a really good exit. But Alex has also done quite well now. You can see he's certainly getting into his own as I go wide, trying to push the power. Still really underestimating the fact that these tyres do take multiple laps to get up to temperature. And eventually, though, we were able to start catching up with the group ahead of us, which were battling. This was P5 in a similar Dex Cadillac to us. And he's got two cars very close behind him, but there you go. There is the GT3 traffic that we've all been waiting for. And we're going to see how that's going to affect everyone's race coming up as we rejoin now on lap 6. With the immediate effect of the GT3s being noticeable, as we can see the guys ahead are starting to spread apart slightly here. That Ferrari doing very wise there just to try and stay wide here, letting us all go through. And we're watching Robert and Antonello ahead of us in that black Cadillac, really sharking their way through, just trying to find a clean line. Looks like Antonello has made it ahead of that green Porsche, but Robert gets caught up. I do cut that curb a little bit too much there and get a slow down, but that's not going to be too much of an issue considering I'm going to be stuck behind this Porsche right here, so I'm going to have plenty of time to serve it out. All whilst Robert is starting to try and pull away here along with Antonello. And it looks like Andrew in that silver Dex Cadillac managed to get quite lucky with the GT3 traffic, so he's pulled a bit of a gap to the two cars ahead of us. And now I just have to hope I can get ahead of this Corvette before we get into Ascari, because that's one of the worst places you can encounter the traffic around here. As you can see, Robert's ahead of us just has nowhere to go, so he has to tuck in and try and focus on getting a good exit. We have a bit of a close call with that Corvette. Thought he was going over to the left, but then he suddenly couldn't decide what he was doing. Well, thankfully the rest of the traffic is not too bad as we come into Parabolica, where once again it can be a little tricky with the GT3 traffic. As you can see here, they are too wide ahead of us. I try and follow Robert through, but that Ferrari moves over, so I've got to quickly duck and go between the two of them. Quite a bit of a cheeky move there. I'm not sure if that was Ferrari manufacturer orders trying to slow me up, but it did give me a bit of a scare. And as we come past this LMP2, we are now right up behind Robert once more, but not for much longer, because you can see that Ferrari's launch out of the first chicane is immeasurable. Just how good it is with that all-wheel drive system. Fighting is not going to be over though, because we have more GT3 traffic ahead of us. And it looks like Robert is going to get ahead of this Porsche, and we're just going to have to settle in behind, try and navigate our way through. We can actually see Antonello has gone off there into the sand, and the Porsche's had to take evading action, so we're all the way to the right as well, splitting the Porsche in the middle, so we get a position for that. Now we're just got to avoid these GT3s seeming to struggle, but it looks like Antonello's had some trouble behind us. And again, more incidents as Antonello goes off into the barrier there, so we're going to have to review what happened to him. And I'm going to place the blame squarely on the sausage curbs for this one, though that Acura does go deep here. It's the sausage curb that then sends him wide and makes Antonello take that avoiding action. The sand then really slows him down and gives him dirty tyres, making this next corner even more difficult, especially whilst I'm on his inside. And you can see the GT3 struggling in front. It's that same Acura. And then unfortunately there's some horrible netcode with that Porsche behind him, which takes off his rear wing. iRacing has to revisit that kind of damage, as it shouldn't be happening from netcode. Onto lap 10, the battle between Andrew and Robert had been raging in front of us until finally Andrew made a mistake and Robert was able to seize the opportunity there using the Ferrari's launch. He was able to get ahead into the second chicane, but he was able to run away. And eventually on lap 12 we are entering the pit stop phase with Andrew going in for the undercut. I had been trying to save a bit of fuel in the clean air, so by the time we come on to lap 13 it's my turn to come into the pits. This will be very crucial for me because I can't really gain time here, but if I make a big mistake I can lose a lot of time, which I've been trying to work towards and catching up to these two. And we can see Robert just there, and I saw Robert, which then caused me to miss my pit stop box. It's going to cost us a precious second and make it even more difficult as we leave the pits now to try and catch back up to the two of them. So I'm just going to have to hope the GT3 traffic might be a bit beneficial to me, and hopefully their fighting might help with that too, especially when we see on board with Robert here coming out of the pits. Andrew has done exceptional on that undercut there. Robert here is still close to him though, so if he makes a mistake like he does here coming through the second chicane, Robert is able to seize the moment. Andrew's going to defend to the inside with Robert looking to the outside, but he's actually going for the switchback here, especially with Andrew going so deep, which allows Robert to move to that inside. Now he just holds it to the inside through the second Lesmo, and that gives him the position from Andrew where he's able to start running away, leaving Andrew behind for us to catch up to. The GT3 traffic though was not helpful to me, so it was only by lap 19 I'd managed to catch up to Andrew, who was still really fast on his own, but I had managed to put in some blistering laps, as you can see in the delta, thankfully not getting too slowed up on these last laps. So now, especially with one of the lead Cadillacs that had gone off at this stage, this is the battle for P4 between me and Andrew. Robert has managed to check out, so it's now just going to be between the two of us. And straight away it's going to be a difficult start as we're coming into LMP2 traffic, which is quite a challenge, more than the GT3s. These cars are quite equal to us and better under braking, so getting past them actually takes a lot more time. That's given Andrew a little bit of breathing between us, but I am really confident on the brakes in this car, and especially through this second chicane we can see just how much I close up there. But once again I've cut too much of that first chicane and got a slow down. However, I'm able to serve it by just simply braking a little bit earlier, and Andrew running wide there is going to help me not let him get too far away here, because I don't want to break the toe. I really want to keep within that slipstream of his, because whilst it's not too effective, every little helps in this kind of battle between two very evenly matched cars and two very evenly matched drivers, as I felt we were. It didn't help that we were both running near enough the same livery with the Dex Cadillac, so even if I tried, I couldn't get it this closely tied between the two of us. So it was really going to come down to who makes the biggest mistake, or if the GT3 traffic might intervene between the two of us. But now at least I just need to focus on every entry and exit. I'm really driving the Cadillac as much as possible, using every single bit of the track to carry momentum. Coming into the first corner here, this is where I felt I could gain a little bit of time, still being that little bit better on the brakes. But perhaps that was also wearing out the tyres a little bit more than what Andrew was having, because the tyre wear, whilst not much of a factor in these cars, is still present, and certainly overheating them is the bigger concern. I've got to keep pushing. I'm really pushing it on the tyres and cutting that first corner just so I can get a better exit through the second. You can see we are right beneath the wing of Andrew here, so I've just got to try and manage the gap between us, because I want to stay close to him on that run up towards Ascari. However, it might be a bit too close here as Andrew really slows up for the second, which catches me off guard. We're able to avoid an incident, however we now drop pretty far back from him. I'm at least able to regain some of that time, because Andrew does go wide out of Ascari here, so we're still in contention that if a mistake happens we are there to take it. However, time is running out because we are now on the last lap of this race, and we've got another LMP2 in front of us, which is what I really don't want at this stage. They're not that much slower through the chicane than we are, however it's going to compromise my exit. I have to check up in order to not go into the back of him here. And that's robbed me of the opportunity, because I was hoping I could be close to him going into that second chicane and use my advantage on the brakes. So now it's just going to be a case of trying to close up more and more with him again. Once more cutting that corner, getting over that second curbing, really abusing the track limits as much as possible. And it has brought us a bit closer here. Just got to try and keep it tidy through the reservoirs, but I've gone wide there, just getting too much on the power. We do have GT3 traffic, but they back off sensibly, trying to make sure they stay out of the way of what's going on here. And as we enter Ascari, it's not looking good here unless Andrew does make a mistake, but he is keeping cool under the pressure here. I'm just not close enough to him. And the slipstream is not strong enough, so it would have taken a monumental send into the Parabolica, which could have potentially ended both of our races. So I've just got to fall in behind for now and accept the fact that we're going to come across the line in P5. And perhaps if we hadn't made those mistakes, we might have had longer to battle Andrew, but still what was there was an amazing little fight between the two of us for the end of the race. And we're still going to come across the line in positive IR, losing a little bit of SR, but I'm okay with that for now, considering that I finally managed to get above 3k iRacing. So that is the end of today's race. I hope you have all enjoyed it. If you did, please give a like and subscribe, as that does help me on the channel. And I hope to see you all again next time.